I guess the hardest part is just like pushing through all of the rejection. They reached out to me, had a couple conversations, and then they ended up sending me an offer. So that was pretty cool. I graduated in the fall of 2019. Got my bachelor's in physics. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with that, so I started as an outdoor educator. This was very brief because COVID hit right after. I got some contract work driving a van around like to set up COVID testing sites. I took my year to achieve a lot of my personal goals in terms of climbing and mountaineering. Once COVID stopped, my job stopped too. I just knew that I didn't want to be outside for work and I wanted to use my brain again and like learn. So I started studying data science on my own. After many job applications and such, I ended up starting with TripleTen. Seeing a lot of ads for it, I liked the idea that they would help you find a job at the end and that they had the money back program. And I didn't want decision paralysis, so I just went with TripleTen because I was already familiar with them. I was just within 3 years from having gotten my bachelor's, and so I was able to get a really good scholarship because of that. When I was looking into the market and just figuring out what skills would pair the most closely with what I did in physics, it just seemed like data science would be the most in line with my past experience. So I was working 3.5 days straight basically, and then would have 3.5 days off. I would pretty much try to put in like 20 hours or so over Thursday, Friday. I guess one thing that I did in addition to just the curriculum itself was to read a lot about just the state of data science as a whole. And so I felt like that was a really good complement to the coursework. Peer review, like having somebody who knows a lot more than you do, looking at your actual work and like telling you what you did wrong and telling you what you did well on is just so useful in like actually teaching you. All of the coursework was challenging, but it was like challenging setting up all of the career materials and such as the main course was winding down. I guess it probably felt more challenging because that was the phase that everything else was leading up to. So the career search actually really motivated me to brush up on the more foundational coding skills. It seemed like a lot of coding interviews touched more on like algorithms and basics, and then it's just like figuring out how to balance the quality of each application versus like making sure that enough people are even seeing your application in the first place. I guess the hardest part is just like pushing through all of the rejection. They reached out to me. The chief business officer was my first conversation. We like talked about my experience and then how Handshake was doing as a company at that time. He invited me to chat with like somebody on their operations team who had been there since the start pretty much. They probably just liked that I was really motivated. Yeah, I ended up just getting an offer after that basically. I'm like really proud that I was able to transition into like a really solid job without having to get like a master's or PhD.